Welcome back to part 3 of LA Fishguys Water on the Floor, episode 133. I'm resolving a leaking bulkhead that required me to drain the entire tank so I could push it away from the wall so as to gain some access to actually tighten the bulkhead. But that really did not make it all that much easier.
So, the real question is, did I get it tightened enough?
And with the assumption that I have tapped the bulkhead's threaded collar on tighter and that we've stopped the leak, I can now slide the aquarium system back into position up against the wall and start pumping the water from that 100-gallon container in my van back into the customer's tank. It's now been less than an hour that the water level in the tank was dropped down, but without some means of aeration from, say, the filter system, we do want to return the original water back to the tank as soon as possible. The fish do not appear to be stressed, and as the tank fills back up, they'll begin to feel less stressed. While the tank is filling up, it's a good opportunity to wipe down some of the algae areas that I may have missed earlier. Other than dropping the water level in the wet-dry trickle filter, I've made it a point not to disturb any portion of the biological aspects of the filter system until now.
So this, more specifically, the pre-filter, which goes in the bottom of the internal overflow, is most likely the culprit. More specifically, as I screw this in and out, over time, I probably twisted that bulkhead itself out of its tight position. The water's just about filled up in the tank and just about ready to spill into the internal overflow and start filling up the sump, so we better start paying attention.
And with the pre-filter carefully screwed back into the bulkhead at the bottom of the internal overflow, it's now time to plug in the water pump and turn the filter system back on.
And with the tank running now, water spilling into the overflow, we'll take a quick look back here, see what we can see. Not looking good. I think I can already see it dripping. On second thought, maybe it did seal. Well, I'm not 100% certain that we have fixed the leak. I'm drying it off with a towel. I'm shining a flashlight in there, and I'm looking for any shiny little spots that'll move on that bulkhead. Maybe I need to wait a little bit longer, but so far with my fingers crossed, I've got a bad feeling about this one.
To me, it looked like the water was still working its way around the threaded portion of the bulkhead. That would indicate that I've not solved the bulkhead issue. And since I don't have an alternative, and I really do not wish to drain the tank again, thus adding more stress to the fish, I'm going to redecorate the tank and then reevaluate my situation in a few moments. This tank, like most of my aquarium service accounts, have naturally colored coral skeletons as decorations. This tank, being tall and narrow, has a simple assemblage of 4 corals, 1 tall branching white coral, and 3 smaller pieces. This account, being a regular for many years, has 2 sets of corals that are rotated at every service. So here comes the moment of truth.
Well, I'm not sure. If I run my hand up here on the threaded portion of the bulkhead, I don't feel any moisture at all. But here is where I can see the water coming up through. Now, is this simply because I don't have a clamp on here? Or is the leak coming from where the adapter, which is glued into the bulkhead? Alright, so...
Next time you're near Long Beach, California, take the time to stop in at Age of Aquariums, 2642 Cherry Avenue, just off the 405 freeway near Signal Hill. Age of Aquariums carries a full line of dry goods, supplements, and exotic equipment. Age of Aquariums also carries a wide assortment of living corals, coral frags, as well as fresh and saltwater fish, ranging from the usual, the unusual, and the bizarre. Age of Aquariums is located at 2642 Cherry Avenue, Long Beach, California, near Signal Hill. Open 7 days a week. Call 562-438-6252 or visit ageofaquariums.biz. Are you still tumbling biopellets? Tired of constantly replacing your GFO? Or trying to grow algae in your refugium? And you still have algae problems? Get real! Real filtration, that is. Algae scrubbers from Santa Monica Filtration will turn this into this by growing this weekly. 2 styles of scrubbers, the Hog and the Surf. Both are extremely easily installed and noticeably effective. You want results? Algae scrubbers are the answer. Visit santa-monica.cc. So previously, we drained the water out of that hexagon tank so we could push it away from the wall. That way I could get back inside there and try to tighten that collar around the bottom of the bulkhead. I used a straight edge screwdriver and a hammer to try to tap it. I think I got that taken care of okay, but now that I've got the tank pushed back against the wall, the water back in the tank and running, I see drippage still coming from that bulkhead arrangement fitting. So it might be where the cuff, which is the portion that adapts the flexible drain line around the barbed fitting on the underside of the tank, it could be leaking from there. That being the case, I tried putting a plastic snap clamp around there, but that didn't seem to tighten it enough. So I've gone to the hardware store and got myself a worm clamp, which I can really tighten down. We'll see if that solves the problem. If not, I'm probably going to have to, once again, drain the tank, slide it away from the wall, and this time pull the whole bulkhead assembly out of that overflow and just replace it. The new clamp is easily installed, but as with all my other attempts, working inside that hexagon cabinet is an awkward reach. But with determination, I'm able to slip the clamp around the drain cuff line, reinsert the tail end of the clamp into the threaded slot, and then tighten the screw so that the entire clamp tightly secures itself in position around the drain line cuff. Did it solve my problem? Let's take a look. Looks like the worm clamp did it. I don't see any leakage there. Feeling confident that the leak is now resolved, I can now comfortably advance with the cleaning of the rest of the aquarium. This tank was upgraded a couple of years ago to LED strip lights. They've worked well, they look great, but they still grow the same amount of algae as did the fluorescent bulbs previously. And as with every aquarium service, Care is applied to both the inside of the tank as well as the outside of it. This being an acrylic aquarium, we'll use a polish to clean and shine the exterior of the aquarium, and then crown it with its wooden canopy.
Looks like we solved it. So it looks like we solved the problem. The drain bulkhead was originally leaking. We pulled the tank away from the wall, tightened up the bulkhead, but at the same time we must have loosened the drain hose. So we had to go get a clamp. Just goes to show if you got the right tools and know what you're doing, it's a pretty simple solution. Keep moving forward.